Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. Uneducated Network presents Uneducated Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and today we have a good show once again. Before we get into that, please like, subscribe, share, comment to Uneducated Network, where I guarantee you guys will have a fun time. It's a blast. So right now we're here to talk about our top 25 of the college football rankings. They came out about a week ago. I'm a little late, but I want to get my thoughts on that and tell you guys how I feel. And I'll give out my top 4 who make it to the college football playoff, the 4th year edition of it. So far, it's been great. We'll get into that in just a second. But quick minor news. Talk with the NBA. You know, I'm a sort of a Spurs fan and a Manu Ginobili guy as well. Manu Ginobili did say he's going to sign and probably do for 1 year. Well, he lied to everybody. He's actually going for 2 years. Ginobili will sign a 2-year, $5 million contract to stay with the San Antonio Spurs. He's already 40 years old, so basically when he's done, he'll be 42, call it a career. What a great career he's had and he's having. And I still think with a little motivation, he can help out this Spurs team in a big way. So, that being said, to you, Manu Ginobili, you are the man, you're my guy, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck for the next 2 years, and goals, fuzz, goals. But now, we'll talk about our 32 for 32, which is 32 teams in 32 days, and today's football team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are in my division, the Saints, I got the logo showing, but they're in my division, the Saints division, the NFC South, and I gotta say, checking all 4 of these teams out, they all look primed and ready to do something special. When you talk about the Saints, Bucks, Panthers, and the Falcons, of course, they all look good and they all are scared. This is the only division, yes, I said it, the only division where all 4 quarterbacks play a huge role in the team's success. The only division. People say, what about the NFC East? No. Carson Wentz, I got to see it from a second year. And Eli Manning, no. Eli's falling off hard on hard times the last couple years now. But let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we all know that Dirk Cutter is here once again. This team is featured on Hard Knocks for this year. And I have not watched the episode, but I've heard a number of good reviews and great ratings about this show and this team in particular. Jameis Winston is in, I believe, his 4th year now, and he is looking to, continue success. 3 years now, 3 straight 4,000 yard passing years. So the only quarterback in NFL history to start off his first 3 years with 4,000 yards passing or more. And he's just doing his thing. He's gonna make it 4 years old. Why? Because they've added weapon after weapon after weapon for Jameis Winston. Deshaun Jackson, he is there now. He's still a threat. No matter what issues he's going through or no matter what team he plays for, he's still a threat. And Deshaun Jackson still has that top-notch speed at his age. And he blows by the finish. So as a weapon for him. And then, of course, you had O.J. Howard out the draft. We'll talk about him in just a few minutes. And then on defense, you understand that they have Jeremy McCoy, still the big dog down low. Quan Alexander was a great linebacker. And Brent Grimes, a good cornerback. So they have at least a few guys in big positions in that defense. You're talking secondary, the linebackers, and the D-line. And then the offense, like I said again, Jameis Winston is going to be, I think the shoulders are more on him now. He's a seasoned guy now. I'm not going to call him a vet. I don't know when you really call someone a vet. Is after the 4th or the 5th year? I'm not sure. But Jameis Winston has been there, done that. He is the catalyst. He is the captain. He is the guy that's going to make this team go. This team, I believe, overachieved last year, going 9-7. They overachieved. They had a chance to make the playoffs, a great chance to make the playoffs, and they squandered the last about 2 or 3 weeks of the season when they met the Dallas Cowboys and really started it. And then, of course, they lost to the Saints at the end. They kind of run it in just a little bit, but they overachieved. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now, the only problem is, the negative on that is, people expect that again. Well, I don't know about catching people off guard now. You added more weapons to join Mike Evans as well, because Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson, it's going to be a great 1-2 punch, and Mike Evans is a stud. And they added more pieces in the draft. We'll get to that in just a minute on their offense as well. So, we all know they cut their kicker, Roberto Aguayo. and they picked up Nick. Well, Nick Folks came in before the season started to give Roberto some competition, and of course Roberto could not respond positive. Well, Nick Folks is in here as well, and he's been struggling with the kicking game. So that could come back to haunt them in a few games if they don't get that right or get the kinks out, because kicking, whether people love it or hate it, it is a big part of the NFL, and it's a big part of either giving you wins or losses. So you gotta have a kicker. Ask the New England Patriots, Adam Vinatieri, all those years, helping them out winning those championships. So that being said, I look forward to seeing this team, not just because they play, in my division, but this team overall, because they can either be really, really good or really, really bad, or in the middle. They're not gonna be this, 6-10 team, or this 11-5 team. They're gonna be either really good, really bad, or in the middle. And I got them somewhere in the middle. I have them finishing the season at 9-7. Yes, they did that last year by overachieving. This year, I think they have a bigger spotlight on them. And of course, when you play in the NFC South, all four of those teams are very difficult. Anyone could beat anyone at any given time in that division. So I do like where they're going with that. Now, let's talk about their draft picks for a second. The first pick they had, the 19th overall pick, went to O.J. Howard, and they got a steal, a major steal. I said Jamal Adams, I believe, was the best player in the draft, and then I said, the kid from Alabama, the big D tackle. Why am I forgetting his name that fast? Hold up, I got to know this man's name, right? I got to know his name. Y'all know me. Hold it down. I'm just having this brain fart. Jonathan Allen, good God, right? Sorry about that. Jonathan Allen. So I got Jamal Adams 1, Jonathan Allen's 2, and then O.J. Howard 3. And of course, Allen and Howard both slipped. Allen, because of a shoulder injury. Howard, I have no idea why he slipped. Probably because there was just a lot of stuff going on, trades going on, and he just kept sliding down. Well, Tampa Bay got a steal from him. I believe he was the third best player in the draft. Talking about players overall, not team needs, but just third best player overall. And the slot already 19, Tampa Bay gets a steal. Another weapon for Jameis Winston, another toy. So that was Mike Evans, a big receiver. O.J. Howard, who can not only pass receive, like everyone thinks, like, oh, he's just a pass catch tight end. No. Guy is physical, and he's probably one of the best blocking tight ends in the game as well, coming out of college. So they got a 2-for-1 special in that regards. Now, this second round pick, Justin Evans, he's a safety from Texas A&M. He's not really a guy that's going to go in coverage and stop somebody, but you put him down in that to be that ninth man in the box, or somewhere in that, the middle of the field area. He's a big hitter, heavy hitter, and he plays better when he's close, when he's up there with guys like that. So that right there, they needed a little bit of exoticness with their defense, because their defense is sort of vanilla, even though Mike Smith is the defensive coordinator who brings in a good background. But they're sort of vanilla on their defense, and they know that. And then the third round pick, which I love, Chris Godwin from Penn State, the wide receiver. I basically call him go get it, Mr. Go Get It. Just go up there and get it. We all know that Penn State just loved throwing that ball up there. They loved it. Just like, step back, just throw it deep. He's going to get it. He's a playmaker, and I think he'll bring that same skill set to the NFL. It's not hard to bring that same skill set from college to the NFL. So I like that pick. And their fifth round pick, they got Jeremy McNichols, the running back from Boise State. He's a tough runner. We all know that Doug Martin's having his issues, off the field issues going on, so we don't know if he's either going to play in the season. So if he does, I don't know how big his role might be, but you're getting a young running back by Jeremy McNichols to come in, and he's going to be someone that's going to get the ball a lot. So I do see him having success with Tampa Bay. So fantasy owners, be ready for that as well. We'll talk about that. Like I said, check us out. We have a two-parter for fantasy, and my special guest host will be Joshua Nevels. August 29th, it'll probably be doing it. We'll probably upload it on the 30th, and then of course August 30th we'll do it and upload it for the 1st of September. Excuse me. So you'll see it August 30th and September 1st, pretty much part 1 and part 2 of our fantasy football. It's gonna be a good show, and I'm excited about that as well. Now, Tampa Bay had a very good draft, but with that being said, I still think the whole division got better. That's their problem. See, the thing about New England is they always get better and get good, but the division just never knows how to catch up or even be competitive with Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. But it's a different story in the NFC South. That's why there's so many different winners. Yes, as of late, Carolina won it 2 years in a row before the Falcons won it this year. But before that, there was never a clear, dominant team in the division. I think the Saints were pretty dominant, but they only won it maybe 2 or 3 times in that like 4 or 5 year stretch where they were pretty good. So that being said, Tampa Bay has them at 9-7. Now we're done with that. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you're a Bucs fan, let me know. 9-7. I got them 9-7, but still missing out on the playoffs. Tell me, am I wrong about that? Do you have them higher? Or do you have them lower? So let me know how you feel about that. And next up, Denver Bronco fans, be ready. Next episode, we will talk about the Denver Broncos, and that's the 32 about them. And they got a lot of things that they're showing on their offense. We will get to that on next episode. Now, let's go ahead and talk about college top 25. I've been waiting for this hard. So, top 25 schedule came out last week. I'm just not getting to this, but I want to talk about how I feel. College is right around the corner. Matter of fact, if you're a big fan of the FCS, that comes out this Saturday, this weekend. If you're big a fan of Division One, that comes out next weekend. So be ready, because I'm ready. Let's go. We're gonna start with our top 25. We're gonna go 25 through 21. We have Utah at 25, Tennessee at 24, the Texas Longhorns at 23. Virginia Tech at 22, and at 21 we have South Florida is at 21. What did I say that wrong? No, I'm sorry. Tennessee is at 25. Washington, is at 24. Texas at 23. West Virginia at 22. Virginia Tech is at 21. So I do apologize for that. So we recap: Tennessee 25, Washington State University 24, Texas 23, West Virginia 21, West Virginia 22, and Virginia Tech is 21. Out of those teams, I think the team to watch out for is probably going to be Tennessee. You know, Tennessee's always hot the first 5-6 games of the season. I think they will always, they do their regular stuff. They get in the top 25, and then by the time week 6-7 hit, they're 6-0, and they're like ranked number 12 or 13. So they'll be in that mix again until they run into an Alabama team that'll smash them up, like always. So, and then I want to talk about Texas. I think Texas isn't rightfully deserved to be in the top 25, but since they got Tom Herron from Houston, that bumped them up into their into the mix. You know, when you get recruits, all this is based off recruitment. It's not what you did last year. Some is all about last year, but a lot of it is about how your team looks this year with your recruitments, how many 5 stars, how many 4 stars you got. That's the reason why teams like Texas probably get bumped up. At number 20, we have Kansas State University. At 19, we have University of Southern Florida, or South Florida, whatever you want to call them. At 18, we have the U. Miami is in the house. Number 17, we have Florida, the Gators. And number 16, we have Louisville. Louisville is kind of... It's going to be iffy about them. They're bringing back their Heisman Trophy quarterback, and they have a chance to make it up there. But when you play against Clemson and Florida State, you're going to lose one or both of those games, just being honest. Now, they can make a run and do the thing, but I really think that they're a team that's iffy. If they can get past Clemson and Florida State, this team can make a run and be big. But I don't see it. That's my thing. And about Florida having those 7 guys being suspended for their Michigan game hurts them horribly. Not only are you playing against a tough SEC conference, but then you got to go ahead and play against Michigan, who's in the top 15, your first game of the season, and you lose 7 players to start the season off. It's not looking good for Florida, so Florida might be the team to drop out. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So then we have number 15, University of Georgia. 14 is Stanford. 13 is LSU, Louisiana State University. Number 12 is Auburn, and number 11 is Michigan. Out of those teams, I'm very curious about Michigan. I think Michigan can run the table. I really, really do. I'm telling you guys, watch out for the Wolverines. I have supreme confidence in those guys. I think this is the year that John Harbaugh, Or is it Jim? It's Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh goes out there, and I think he gets it. He gets this team rallying at the right time. They were one game last year away from making it to the playoffs. In that game against Ohio State that ended in controversy. So they could have still had a chance to make it in as well. I really think this year they might just do it, man. And then LSU, they have quarterback issues or quarterback decisions to make and offensive decisions to make. This team is a stout. They're a beast on defense. They just got to get the offense together, man. And I'm very curious to see what they do with this LSU team. And then now the rank our top 10 through 6, Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are in it. They're number 10. At number 9 is Wisconsin. At number 8, University of Washington. The Huskies. At number 7, the Oklahoma Sooners. And at number 6, Penn State. Now this top, that 10 through 6, is very deadly. Oklahoma State is pretty good, but their defense is just, once again, when you play in that Big 12 conference, anyone outside of Oklahoma, you're gonna have bad defensive performances. And even Oklahoma has had bad defensive performances. That's the problem with Oklahoma State. Yes, they could probably win maybe 9, at most 10 games, but they're gonna lose 2 games. And we already know the way this college football rankings go. When you lose 2 games, you're done. You're done. Like, no one's getting into it. The only one that's done it is Ohio State. It's only because they rallied off and won like 7, 8 in a row in dominating fashion. So not too many teams can do that. I think Oklahoma State is a team that cannot do that. They can't afford to lose 2 games. Barely can afford to lose 1 game. I'll tell you that right now. And I got my eye on Washington to see how they come back. They had a lot of guys get drafted. A lot of their secondary, a lot of defensive players. And in the Pac-12, they're going to be a reckon with. But there's other teams out there that have kind of gone up there. We'll talk about that team in just a minute. So, to round up our top 5 now, we have Clemson at number 5, USC at 4, Florida State at 3, we have Ohio State at 2, and then we have Alabama at number 1. We all knew that was going down. That was the obvious one. Here we go. Clemson, the defending champions. You do Deshaun Watson. Now you have your next quarterback. You wonder how they're going to do. So, I see why they're 5 right now, but if they play, and they brought a lot of guys back, and their defense is still pretty good, and their offense is still scary. So, and you have Dabo Swinney, who's now becoming one of the elite coaches in the game. You saw how he just blew out Urban Meyer in the Ohio State Buckeyes last year. So they got something to prove. They got things going on in Clemson. I'm very excited about that. USC was a story last year with their change of quarterback. Sam, number 14 for the Trojans, who's most likely going to be a top 5 pick in this year's NFL draft. So we will find out what they're about, but they're a very scary team. I think that they will run the Pac-12. I think they have the best quarterback in the game right now, and I see them just dominating. I see them dominating the Pac-12, and I see them winning the Pac-12 as well. And then we have Florida State at number 3. It's very tough when you got to play against Alabama, but it's always a good thing when you play against teams like that early. You could lose early and still get in the playoffs. Now you can't lose late. So the benefits of having a tough team like Alabama, the toughest team in the game, it benefits them. If they do lose, they can still run the table and get in or have a chance to get in. And then number 2, Ohio State. Don't worry about how they got beat down last year by Clemson. That's out the question. Don't worry about that. It's all about now. The recruitments they come in, Ohio State always comes up with the recruit. Urban Meyer is bringing those guys from the South and bringing them to Ohio State. That's what he does. He's bringing those guys from the Florida area and bring them to Ohio State. So it's very interesting about this Buckeyes team. They bring in J.T. Barrett 1 more year, so they're going to be a tough out to go. And of course, number 1, that was obvious, Alabama, the best team in Division I football, the best team in college right now. This is probably 5 years in a row. The Nick Saban era team they're just good. They're good and they're dominant. And it's very, very tough to see them not going to the college football playoffs. I mean, it's 3 years in a row. Three years they've done it 3 times. Bama's been in it. I'm going to say 4 years, 4 times Bama's in it. So, that being said, let's go ahead and talk about let's talk about the 4 teams. The college football playoffs is very exciting. It's always around my anniversary, which is December 6th. That's right, baby. I love you.
Love you too.
I mean, anyways, now December 6th, somewhere in the area, I love it. It's my anniversary, but it's also the time when they announce the college football playoff announcements, and that's always gonna be a good year. So I cannot wait for that to come on. But check this out. Here's my top 4 teams that are gonna make it to the college football playoffs. I'm saying it right now, so book it right now. Check this out. At number 4, something like that. You know, I gotta get something like that, and I will later on in life. I have, believe it or not, the Florida State Seminoles. I think Florida State comes in at number 4. I think they lose to Alabama, and I think they go and ride the table off. I think they win 10, 11 straight games in a row. They win the ACC title and everything like that. And I think that this team is going to show grit and gut. And it depends on how I think they contest fairly enough with Alabama. They're the closest team outside of SEC. Them and Clemson, they're the closest teams to resemble an SEC team. Physical, dominating. And then at number 3, I have it. USC. I think the Trojans go in maybe losing 1 game, but I do see them winning the Pac-12 title. So I have the Trojans at number 3. They have all the tools to get through it. They beat a Washington team last year that was very good, and now they're on a great roll right now with the quarterback that they have, who's the best quarterback in the game. I see them having a wonderful season out there in Southern California, and they make it to the college football playoffs. At number 2, I have the Alabama Roll Tide. I have Alabama in it at number 2, and then you're saying, whoa. They're not number 1. That means they lost a game. I think they lost 1 game. I don't know who it's going to be against. Maybe LSU. My money is against Auburn. They lose it because I think they're in Auburn for the Iron Bowl, and I think they lose 1 game this year. And that tells me, well, someone's got to be number 1, right? That team and that number 1 team's got to be undefeated. Who you got, Carlos? Well, so I got Florida State number 4. I got USC number 3. I got Alabama number 2. And at number 1, going into the college football playoffs, I have the Michigan Wolverines. I have the Michigan Wolverines going into number 1. I think Michigan will run the table. Starting off with this game against Florida, I think they defeat Florida very easily because of all the suspense they have, and that game was a great build-up. Now it's kind of a dud game when it comes out to a Florida fan. I think Michigan beats down on Florida for sure, and they run the table. Now, I even got them beating Ohio State the last game of the year just to solidify who they are, and then go ahead and beat whoever they play in the championship game. I think Michigan runs the table. They're number 1. And now, so you say, well, it'll be Michigan versus Florida State, and then it'll be Alabama versus USC. Who I got? That top 4 is pretty freaking good. You gotta, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, you cannot discredit what Alabama has done year in, year out. As tough as it's me to say it, because I'm not a Bama fan, I just don't like, them at all. But I have Alabama being this 2017/18 college football champions of the world once again. But you never know. All these picks, these teams can all lose within the first 6 weeks, and you never know. That's the beauty of college football. But my early rankings at number 4, Florida State. At number 3, USC. Number 2, Alabama. And number 1, the Michigan Wolverines. And I have Alabama versus Michigan in the finals, the championship, the national championship. And I have Alabama squeaking by Michigan. I won't give scores and all that, but that's my early preview of the 2017-18 college football season, the top 25 rankings. Like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Facebook. My name is Carlos Clayton. I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, if that helps. Check me out on Twitter, at Carlos Clayton _. I repeat, at Carlos Clayton _. And, about this show, I don't have a lot of editing, a lot of creative stuff going in. I will eventually get that going in. I just ordered my camera coming in, so be on the lookout for the next week or two. I'm gonna have editing. I'm gonna have pictures showing up and all that stuff. So I'm very excited about that, and I cannot wait to make this show bigger and better, so we can make the Uneducated Network bigger and better. Because we want this to be the best YouTube channel on YouTube, and I think, and I know, with the power and the will and my team, my staff, we will have the best YouTube channel. So please be on the lookout. This is a very long episode, and I knew it was gonna kind of be, but I love to talk sports, and if you're still watching, thank you so much. But with that being said, like, subscribe, comment, check out Uneducated Network. We have all the shows popping, man. Thank you guys for being a part of this show, the ones who subscribe, and thank those who haven't subscribed yet. Now, this is the Uneducated Network, and it presents Uneducated Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and as always, sports fans, you know what it is. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.